Hello students, today I will be continuing chapter 10, that is nervous system. In our previous class we have already discussed what is nervous system, what is the need of nervous system, what is nervous system made up of, neuron cells, the structure of neuron cells. Today we will be dealing in detail about the different parts of nervous system. This particular topic is very important from your board point of view. They generally ask you questions from this particular topic. So your nervous system can be divided into two parts, that is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Under central nervous system you have brain and spinal cord. Okay, your central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. We need to go in detail about the structure of brain, its parts and function. And your peripheral nervous system consists of nerves, motor and sensory nerves emerging out of the brain and your spinal cord. Okay, your peripheral nervous system further can be divided into two types, that is somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Okay, now next nervous system you have brain and spinal cord. First let us take into consideration the structure of brain. Your brain is the main coordinating center in the body. It is protected by a bony box also called cranium. The portion of the skull which protects the brain is called cranium. Okay, now your brain is protected by a three-layered membrane. That name of that membrane is meninges. This meninges consists of three layers. The outermost, known as dura mater, is the toughest layer. Then you have middle layer known as arachnoid. It is the thin delicate membrane, and your innermost known as pia mater is fully supplied with blood vessel. Now in between those membranes you have a fluid known as cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid can also be abbreviated as CSF. So you have cerebrospinal fluid. What is the function of cerebrospinal fluid? The function of the cerebrospinal fluid is to protect the brain from any kind of shocks and also to help in exchange of the nutrients in between the nerve cell and the blood vessel. That is the function of cerebrospinal fluid. Brain has three regions: forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. First let us take into consideration forebrain. The forebrain consists of cerebrum and diencephalon. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. You can see the cerebrum here. The cerebrum resembles like a walnut. You all have seen walnut, right? It is full of convolution. Similarly, your cerebrum resembles like that. Now, your cerebrum is divided into two halves. Those halves are also referred to as cerebral hemisphere. Now, two halves are connected with a fibrous band known as corpus callosum. What does corpus callosum do? It helps in coordinating the two halves of the cerebrum. Now, if you look at the structure of the cerebrum, okay, internally it is completely hollow. Okay, outerly if you see, your cerebrum has two layers. Outer layer is also referred to as a cortex, and cortex consists of cell bodies of a neuron. Because of the presence of a cell bodies, it looks grayish in color. So that is why it is also referred to as a gray matter. Inner layer, it consists of axons of the neuron. As the axons present in the cerebrum are myelinated, and myelin have a fat deposition, because of which it looks whitish. So it is also referred to as a white matter. It is believed that more is the convolution in the cerebrum, more intelligent one is. Okay, because why do they say so? Because more will be the convolution, more will be the surface area for accommodating cell bodies. That is why a person with a more convolution in the cerebrum is referred to as is considered to be more intelligent. Now, if you see a cerebrum, the folding is referred to as a gyri and the depression or deepening is referred to as a sulci. Okay. Now let us move into the function of a cerebrum. Function of cerebrum is also referred to as a site of intelligence, because all the thinking, planning, memorizing, all this thing is done by your cerebrum. Pharyngeal lobe is responsible for carrying out all these functions. Okay, and your parietal lobe helps in movement, maintaining a movement. Okay, the perception, that the urge that one has to move is interpreted by the parietal lobe. Okay, you have temporal lobe help in hearing, the perception of hearing, what we are hearing, that interpretation is done by your temporal lobe, and occipital lobe interprets what we are visualizing. Okay, so your cerebrum, the function of the cerebrum, it helps in memorizing, thinking, reasoning and planning, all is done by the cerebrum. Manifestation of what we are hearing, what we are visualizing, all of this is done by your cerebrum. Okay. Now next portion of a forebrain is a diencephalon. Diencephalon consists of three parts: thalamus, hypothalamus and your pituitary gland and pineal gland. Now your thalamus, what does it do? It takes the messages from your midbrain and your spinal cord towards the cerebrum. So it's like a relay center. Okay, messages for perception of pain and pressure, it's all done by your thalamus. And hypothalamus, what does it do? It regulates the body temperature. It doesn't only regulate the body temperature, but it also regulates the functioning of those two glands, endocrine glands, those pituitary gland and pineal gland. The function of those two are also regulated by your hypothalamus. Now next we will be discussing about midbrain. Of a brain is referred to as a midbrain. Okay, the function of midbrain is to control the reflexes related to your eyes, ears. Okay, the function, if I throw a pen at you, you will simply shut your eyelids, right? That reflex is controlled by your midbrain or hindbrain. Okay, your hindbrain can be divided into three parts: cerebellum, medulla oblongata and pons. Your cerebellum is also referred to as your little brain. The distribution of grey and white matter is similar to that of your cerebrum. That means you have a grey matter on outside and white matter in the inner layer. Okay. Now function of your cerebellum is to maintain a balance of a body. Okay, balance of a body is maintained by your cerebellum, and it also is responsible for motor memory. Motor memory means, like these days you might be using your phone regularly, right? So even without looking at the keypad you can simply type. Okay, so that kind of memory, because of the regular practices, even without looking at the keypad you are being able to type those things. You know where those alphabets are placed. Those kind of memory is known as motor memory. So motor memory is also regulated by your cerebellum. So cerebellum, what is its function? Function of cerebellum is to maintain your body balance and to regulate your motor memory. You all have seen people who consume alcohol, right? They cannot walk straight because their cerebellum, alcohol affects their cerebellum, because of which their body movement is affected. So that's why they cannot walk straight. Okay, next coming to pons. Okay, just like you had a corpus callosum which was regulating, taking the messages or coordinating the two hemispheres, cerebral hemisphere. Similarly, the hemisphere of a cerebellum is also regulated by your pons. Pons helps in regulating the two cerebellum hemisphere. Okay. Now next coming to medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata is also referred to as a brain stem. Now, what is the function of medulla oblongata? The function of a medulla oblongata is to control all the involuntary functions, life-saving involuntary functions. For example, movement of your esophagus, your heartbeat, all of this is controlled by your medulla oblongata. So we have already discussed about the structure and the different parts of the brain. Now next part of your central nervous system is your spinal cord. Spinal cord is the extension of your medulla oblongata, and it runs all along your vertebral column. Your spinal cord is protected by your vertebral column. Just like your brain, your spinal cord is also protected by a membrane known as meninges. The structure of a transverse section of a spinal cord, this is how it looks like. The transverse section of a spinal cord, butterfly shaped, okay. And like brain, your grey matter and white matter distribution in case of spinal cord is reverse. The orientation is reverse. That means in the outer portion they have white matter and inner portion they have grey matter. Your grey matter is H shaped, okay. It has 4 horns, 2 dorsal horns and 2 ventral horns, okay. Your spinal cord further divides into 2 roots, the dorsal root and the ventral root, okay. From your ventral dorsal root comes your sensory nerve and then joins the grey matter, the dorsal side of the grey matter, and from your ventral portion comes your motor nerve and joins the grey matter. For regulating the sensory nerve with the motor nerve, you have a mixed nerve in between, okay. So your mixed nerve, function of the mixed nerve is it forms a bridge between sensory nerve and your motor nerve. So that's all about the structure of your spinal cord. So the function of the spinal cord is to bring the message to the brain and from the brain, and it also controls the reflex action of our body. That's the function of your spinal cord. So that's all about the central nervous system. Now next we will be discussing about other part of the nervous system, that is peripheral nervous system. Your peripheral nervous system consists of different nerves emerging out of the brain and the spinal cord, okay, or to the brain and the spinal cord. All those nerves comes under peripheral nervous system. Now your peripheral nervous system can be divided into 2 parts, 2 types, that is somatic nervous system and your autonomic nervous system. Now under somatic nervous system you have cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Now cranial nerves, the name itself is telling you that these nerves are emerging out of your brains. You have 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Now your cranial nerves can be sensory in function, motor in function, and can have a mixed nerve as well. The nerves originating from your nose, eyes and ears and then connecting to the brain are sensory nerve, and the motor nerves are the one which supplied to your eye muscles, and nerves which are supplied to your face and your tongue region is your mixed nerve. Now next, coming to the spinal nerves, the name itself is telling you that is originating from a spinal cord. So you have 31 pairs of spinal nerves. All the spinal nerves are mixed nerves. We will be discussing about autonomic nervous system. The function of an autonomic nervous system, it carries the motor impulse from your central nervous towards your internal organs. It carries out all the involuntary actions like pouring of the digestive juices to the stomach whenever it is required, beating of the heartbeat. All this is controlled by your autonomic nervous system. Now your autonomic nervous system can be divided into 2 types, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Now sympathetic nervous system is influenced, its function is influenced by the hormone called adrenaline. So this particular nervous system, what does it do? It helps you to encounter certain danger. Just like adrenaline, it's a stress hormone, right? In case of stress or whenever you are facing a danger, your adrenaline is secreted. So this sympathetic nervous system helps you in dealing with that particular situation, okay? it by supplying a more proper amount of blood or by regulating your heartbeat. Okay, it helps you in regulating that particular situation, and after you have encountered the situation, the calming has to be done. Okay, that calmness is brought about into your body by a parasympathetic nervous system. It has opposite effect to that of a sympathetic nervous system. Now, where are these autonomic nerves present? They are present on the either side of the backbone near your spinal cord. Okay, it carries all out the involuntary actions in your body. So